Hi, I'm Rivkah of trYoga with Rivkah, and I had shoulder surgery. I'm about a week and a half post-surgery right now. Went to physical therapy today, so I'm basically trashed, ready for a nap. Although my C-dramas are calling, so I don't know if the nap will really happen, but we'll see. And wanted to give you a quick update. First, very exciting is game-changing sling. So the physio today said, oh, I've got this sling from a previous client. She kind of cleaned it, left it, said, pass it on to someone else. And it's amazing. It's previously I had the sling that holds the elbow and goes around the shoulder and then kind of tugs at your neck as you're trying to sleep. And this one, it's hard to see. I'll have to do a link or something, but basically you slide your arm into this part. It goes around the neck and crisscrosses in the back, and then another section wraps around. So my arm's just kind of suspended and it's so much more comfortable. It's hotter and sweatier, but I really don't care because I'm not being choked. And up until now, I've had it in previous videos where I had to use a support pillow underneath my elbow because with the other sling, my arm would just kind of dangle, which wasn't a problem. It's actually good for it. But it put a lot of strain on the shoulder, and so I would often lift my elbow with a pillow and just walk around the house with it, sleep with it like that. And this way I don't have to. I'm a lot more comfortable. I can tell already I've been home for like an hour since physical therapy, and I'm just like in awe and wishing I had known about this. So I'll actually try to link it. I'll find the maker and the style and I'll link it. For anyone who might be getting shoulder surgery, not therapy, or therapy, you know, super useful on the tips. And so otherwise, I've talked in all my videos about pain because that was like the number one fear, I think. Even more than the loss of control that I'm experiencing, the fear of pain when people tell you that, you know, oh, I was lying in bed in pain and I couldn't handle anything. You get scared, you get really worried. But my pain's been very manageable, very tolerable. What I've noticed a lot of the times though is I do need the distractions. So I watch a lot of TV, of course, big fan of the Asian dramas. Been watching a lot of fluffy C-dramas right now. But I just kind of have it there in the background a lot of the times where, especially as I'm resting and just trying to get through a bout of pain or even discomfort, I just put it on and I watch it as a kind of like distraction more than interest in it, which has been really helpful. And I'm also still going to sleep listening to audiobooks. I'm not active during the day. In fact, yesterday I left my room literally at midnight to go downstairs and get a small snack. I just could not be bothered to get out of bed. That's not true. I sat up in the chair for a while, but I spent my whole day in my room. I barely moved because I was very tired, but I wasn't sleepy and I'm not active enough to be asleep. So I have to find other ways to put myself to sleep, and an audiobook seems to be doing it. So for anyone who might be experiencing something like this, audiobooks that you've heard before are really nice. And if you have an app, I don't know if Audible does it, but I use the Libby app for library books. You can set a timer so the audiobook goes off after half an hour and I'm out by then and I sleep till morning. And I'm looking forward to being more active and getting a full night's sleep as opposed to 5 or 6 hours, or, you know, being able to be tired after 5 or 6 hours, because 6 hours was my usual pre-surgery. So yeah, highly recommend that. Something that I learned, and this is actually from a yoga teacher perspective, interest to me, but hopefully interesting to you, is in the physical therapy right now, it's still very passive, and I can only do passive things for several weeks, because what Latarjet surgery is they basically take a bone from one part of my shoulder and they move it to another part to create a hammock. I think I've mentioned this before. So I have to wait for that to heal. Basically, it's reconnecting. So there's really not much I'm allowed to do with the shoulder right now. So the physio, what she's doing is she's manipulating my arm. She's moving my arm for me to retain mobility in it, because if I were to stay like this for the next 3 to 6 weeks, by the time I'm ready to do active physical therapy, it would be very, very difficult. I wouldn't have any range of motion to begin with. And you can think of it like if you've sat in one position for too long and you get up, and that ache and pain and creakiness that you get from suddenly getting up, that's what that's like, only worse, because it's weeks and weeks of doing that and not just like an hour of sitting in the same position. So what the struggle I have is relaxing my arm and not trying to move it myself, not trying to help her move it. And what I've noticed that I do, and this is something that comes up in my classes a lot, is I roll my shoulder down my back. And this really is something that I bring up a lot in class, where I say, okay, let's sit up and then bring your shoulders back and down. So like this is the shoulder blade, it goes back and down the back. That's not a good, I can't, that doesn't show it well, but whatever. I'll do it a different time. And it was very gratifying in a way to be doing it and to tell the physio, oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm actively moving my shoulder blade down my back. And for her to say, that's what you need to do. Because the natural inclination is to lift our shoulders up. When we are in pain, we want to lift and we want to hunch over, right? Anyone who's had stomach pain, women cramps, right? You're like, oh my God, you huddle into yourself. And the body can't relax like that. It's putting more stress on the body. So when you open your chest, you roll your shoulders down your back, it's like a signal to your body to relax. And also the shoulder's less engaged that way. I'm not engaging the shoulder incorrectly. In fact, when I was in labor with my children, my mother would push my shoulders down forcibly, shoulders down. Shoulders down. That was like her mantra. Breathe out, shoulders down. Breathe out, shoulders down. And it really took a lot of stress off of the rest of the pain, or rather it didn't add to that pain. So it felt cool to, be doing this technique that I do in my classes all the time and that I instruct my students on all the time, to apply it then to the physical therapy aspect that I'm going through. So for anyone dealing with pain, and especially if you have to go to physical therapy for these kind of things, roll your shoulders down your back, relax, don't lift them up. That's what my lesson of the day was today. So let's see, a week and a half post-surgery, game-changing sling, oh my God, relaxation technique, and just manageable pain. I took one of the heavier duty painkillers today because I knew I was going to physical therapy, but otherwise it's just been Acamol or Tylenol a couple times a day, and that's it. Plus a coffee a day. Oh my God. I had my first coffee last week and it was just divine. It was so good. Because I, didn't trust anyone to make my coffee up until now, and finally I bit the bullet and said, if you make it these exact measurements, I will have my coffee, which, by the way, for anyone watching still and caring, it is for every cup on the Mr. Coffee carafe, I use 1 scoop of coffee, and it's like perfect. All right, that's it for today. Have a good one.